Good.
No? Okay. Call this meeting to order as the Guymon Utilities Authority. Item 2, approve the minutes of the special meeting December 8th, 2020.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes, special meeting 12/8/2020, item 2.
I'll second.
Motion and a second.
Peterson.
Aye.
Egger.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Livengood.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Item 3, discussion and action to award the agricultural lease for approximately 1,130 acres of farmland to Jeremy Carmen and Mike Lambley for $18 per acre or $20,340 per year.
Okay, we put this out for bid on January 29th. The last contract who was with Mr. Carmen and Mr. Lambley had lapsed. We did bid it out. We received 2 bidders. Mr. Carmen, Mr. Lambley, and Mr. Tom Stevens, Stevens Land and Cattle Company. Jeremy Carmen and Mike Lambley were the high bidders at $18 an acre, or approximately $20,340 a year. This lease is mimics last year's lease, the previous lease, which was for 4 years. This is a lease that is 2 years with a two-year renewal option. Other than that, the lease is basically unchanged from the previous years. This is a little less than what we were hoping for. The last lease was at $22 an acre, I believe, and this is $4 less than that per acre. So we're going to have about $4,500 or so that we're going to have to figure out how we are going to make up. Or there could be some items we have to do without. It's not a huge amount, but it would be what we would need to try to take care of. And with that, I'd make a motion. I would recommend that the lease be awarded to Jeremy Carmen and Mike Lambley for $18 an acre.
I'd like to throw in one thing. Probably the standard lease rate in this area with water is somewhere around $13 to $15 an acre. So that's actually a very fair price.
Is there any problem with them not enclosing the non-conclusion affidavit or the business-related affidavit?
They completed it.
They
Did they
completed that and
complete
turned it in prior to today's meeting.
Okay, thank you.
I make a motion that we award the ag lease for approximately 1,130 acres of farm and land to Jeremy Carmen and Mike Lambley, $18 per acre, or $20,340 per year, item 3.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second.
Egger.
I will abstain.
Peterson.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Swager.
Aye.
Livengood.
Aye.
We've got 4 ayes and 1 abstain.
Item 4, discussion and action to authorize the city manager to prepare a request for qualifications and solicit qualified vendors on the supply and installation of a water and gas automatic meter reading system.
Okay, this is something we've been talking about for quite some time. For about 6 months or so. And the water supply task force has met and discussed this and has determined that this particular project should be expedited. We are needing to shore up some financing for this project. We had originally planned or considered budgeted that this project was going to cost us somewhere in the neighborhood of about $4 million. And we applied for a little over $1 million grant. We applied for a $2 million grant from Bureau of Reclamation, the Smart Water Program. The matching side of that grant was going to be $1.3 million. The grant was going to be $1.3 million. And that would have paid for just the water side. But right now, it doesn't look like that grant is going to come through prior to us really needing to do the work. Part of the thing that's driving this project and making it so important is that our meter reading software and equipment that we currently use is failing. It was going to be very expensive to refurbish, and it was only going to be able to handle basically the water side and not the gas side of the meters. So staff had decided it wasn't really feasible to pursue that repair project because it just wasn't going to cover everything. We were still going to have to do something with the gas. But we are looking at financing. This part of it does not. The preparation of this our request for qualifications will not cost us anything other than some of my time. And I have gone through this process before, so I do have a sample RFQ that I can modify for the city of Guymon and our services. There are several options that we will have for financing that we will be, we can be talking about in the very near future. With that, I'd answer any questions that you'd have about the automated meter reading program in general, and I would ask you to approve the authorization to prepare the RFQ and solicit qualified vendors so that we can find a vendor that will work for us and then thus nail down a more firm cost on the project.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the city manager to prepare a request for qualifications and solicit qualified vendors on the supply and installation of a water and gas automatic meter reading system, item 4.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Swager.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Alvedras.
Aye.
Egger.
Aye.
Livengood.
Aye.
We've got 5 ayes.
Item 5, reports from committees, council members, and city manager.
I guess I'm on the top of the list. Right?
Huh?
I said it looks like I'm the top of the list. Water
You
supply.
would be.
Or you want to talk first?
I'll go after y'all.
Well, I'm the chairman of the Water Supply Rehabilitation Task Force. We've had 2 meetings. We've talked about quite a few different things. Of course, one of the major things that we've really acted a little quicker on than we probably planned on was this automatic meter reading system, but we've already talked about that and had a lot of preliminary discussions. So we felt that it was in the best interest of the city to go forward with the request for qualifications and try to get this in motion as rapidly as we can, because there are a lot of pluses for our citizens with a automatic water meter readers. That's a mouthful right there. But anyway, we'll go into depth on that later. The task force, we've had discussions about new water wells. We've had discussions about water storage systems or options. We've had a little bit of talk about some possible reuse deal. But it looks like probably our main emphasis right now is going to be on looking for ways to increase our water storage capabilities so that we have a buffer in case we have wells or something go down. But we're also looking for a possibility of either new wells or maybe a altogether different way of purchasing water, maybe from off-site or off of our property from somebody else. So those are things that are all up in the air. We're still having discussions about them. We'll keep you informed as we go along. I think we're looking at having some folks come in. I guess as Mr. Petty puts it, if they're from 120 miles away, they're experts. So we're gonna have some experts come in, and we're moving right along.
All right. As the chairman of the Street Repair Task Force, we've had one meeting. Really what we got in that meeting was we've asked Joe Don to go out and look to see what it would cost us to buy our own equipment on doing repair work on our roads. Obviously, that's been a hot topic since I've been on council and before then. Joe Don has prior experience, obviously, in Alva with owning their own equipment and doing their own repair work for the roads. So really wanted to see from that standpoint what kind of cost savings we can get out of it versus outsourcing all that to go through the repair. We will have a meeting the 22nd of February, and then we will discuss kind of what the quotes will look like, the cost, and then decide what we want to do moving forward with kind of an action plan.
I'm chairman of the Guymon Police Station Task Force meeting. Our first meeting, we met out at the police station. We took a tour. There's parts of that building that the heating and air conditioning has not worked in over 8 years. You get on the north side, I don't know how cold it'd be in there today or for the next few days, but it was cold that night when we were in there. But the building's in rough shape, but we are going to take an approach that we're going to find out what it would cost to remodel, and if it'd be cost efficient. We also are looking into possibly building a new police station and looking at different locations for that police station. So we'll keep you informed, and hopefully we can figure out what we can do with the police station. Thank you.
I'm chairman of the golf course task force, the rehabilitation meeting that we had. We've had one meeting. We've identified some shortfalls. We've always known that we've had an issue with the irrigation system. We know about that, and we are looking into revising the bids that we have gotten in the past. We've also looked at making the area in the clubhouse ADA compliant. We have looked at some low-hanging fruit that possibly we can look at and take advantage of during the cold season and get done. We've also known that there's a need for a maintenance building out there. We probably need something OSHA compliant for fertilizer and for equipment storage. We've looked at that. We've also looked at the need for possible cart sheds and the impact that it would have on the city golf carts that are out there. All this has been identified in one meeting, and I look forward to more meetings. And the city, the people of Guymon can attend these meetings. These are not a closed door meeting. Anybody that wants to come and voice an opinion, you're more than welcome to come out and voice your opinion. The reason for these task force is because we've identified some problems in Guymon, and Joe Don took the initiative, and we got on these task force, and we hope to make a difference, and that's all I have.
Y'all ready for me?
Have at it.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of things I would like to report on to make you aware of. One is the EPA mandated risk and resiliency, I'm getting tongue-tied, report. This is a mandatory EPA report that assessment that we will have to do. And I believe that is got to be completed by July 30th, June 30th. Okay. Right now, we have 2 quotes. We're awaiting the possibility of the third, but if, come March 1st, if we do not have that third quote, we will proceed with the 2 quotes that we have. Right now, the quotes that we have are between $22,000 and $65,000. So it's not a small expense, and it was not anything that we were anticipating. This came up toward the first of this year, and we got notified that our community was chosen to have this done, along with another DEQ report or plan that we've got to have done for stormwater maintenance and runoff. The other thing that we've been moving forward on is the lease agreement between the Chamber of Commerce and the City of Guymon for the Henry C. Hitch Rodeo Grounds. With Mr. Petty's help, we have developed a draft lease, and I'm currently in discussions with the Chamber. We will probably have some additional information. I have some additional information that they have requested to get to them, and we will probably have some more discussions, but I expect to have this before you during our March 9th meeting. I'm working to finalize the ball field several leases. We've got the ball field lease that is a priority that needs to be completed by March. We've got the airport lease. We've run into some issues with the highway patrol lease that we're working through. Because of those issues, I've kind of put the E911 lease on hold, but we should have both those worked out real soon. Also, we've got other leases with PTCI that we're consolidating, and I just for me to have those consolidated, I need to get the legal descriptions for the property that we have, and we're just moving forward with that. In some other research that I was doing, I ran across where it was at least discussed at City Council to send out a banking RFP that was done within since 2019, the discussions were had. I'm looking at refining what we have for this banking RFP to bring that back for your approval. Somehow with all the turnover that's had in city management over the past couple of years, this just evidently fell through the cracks and wasn't done. So we're going to try to move forward with that. The soccer complex is nearing completion, at least until spring, when they'll come back in and do some landscaping. Get the landscaping completed. There is a possibility that we could be getting some additional shade structures. Multicon evidently placed a double order for our shade structures, and there are 4 additional shade structures out there right now. I'm talking with Multicon about maybe kind of swapping some things out and us do the seating for that south half of that property when the spring rolls around. That way they don't have to come back in and do it. And staff is working on getting quotes on that so we can see if this is going to be this will be a good deal for us. Those shade structures are valued at about $17,000. The last thing I'd like to do is kind of go over the financials at the end of January. This is just 1 month into the year. Or if you're looking at percentages, about 8.33% of the year. The city has collected $1.1 million during this first part of the year, during this first month. That's about 10%, 10.8%. So we're a little above that percentage level. But it's not unusual for us to collect money at the beginning of the year that needs to carry us on throughout the year. So that might be why that's a little high right now. As far as appropriations are concerned, we have spent about $562,000, or about 5.5% of our appropriations. If we look at those appropriations and those revenues just for the month, for revenues wise, just for the month of January, we should have probably collected about $861,000 if we're collecting the same amount every month, which doesn't happen. But if that was the case, we could have expected $861,000. If we were expending at that same rate, we would have expected to spend about $855,000, and of course, we've only spent about $562,000. As far as the Guymon Public Works Authority is concerned, we have collected about 6.5% of the revenues for the budget year. That's about $1.2 million. If we were collecting evenly throughout the year, we could have expected in January to collect about $1.6 million. So we're a little below what we would have, about 2%, 1.5–2% below of where we would expect to be. As far as expenditures are concerned, we could have expected to spend about $1.6 million also, but we've only spent about $402,000. So we've only spent about 2% of our total appropriations so far. If we're looking at our sales tax collections for the first month, we collected $561,000. This is about $33,000, or about 5.6% less than what we collected in January of last year. And right now we're running about 2% or 2.8% behind what we expected to collect this year, if we collect the same amount throughout the year. Use taxes, we collected about $82,000, which is a decrease from the same month last year of about $1,400, or about 1.6%. But we are about 1.8% ahead of our 2021 expectations. If we look at utility billing, in the enterprise fund for the month of January, on our major billing accounts, we have billed out about $1.2 million. This is about $26,000, $27,000 above what we collected last year during this same time. But we're honestly about 14% below what our budget projections would be. So we're watching our money really close. As far as our cash and investments are concerned, we've got roughly $9,500,000 in our cash accounts across all three banks, and we have about $12.4 million invested. Want to bring this out, our deposits at each bank are FDIC insured at the rate of $250,000 for each bank, so that's about $750,000 total. The city requires deposits to be insured at 110%. So the banks have given us collateral on the balance of the deposits we have on record in pledges. They have pledged about $12 million to the city of Guymon, and that gets us to at the 118% coverage for all our deposits. And Mayor and Council, that would be my reports. I'd be happy to try to answer any questions that you may have.
Anything else?
I have new business.
This would be,
I have a little deal. Good evening, councilmen and community. Due to some recent business purchases, it has come to my understanding that I could possibly have a conflict of interest created. I will be stepping down at the end of tonight's meeting and ending my position on city council effective immediately. I want each and every one of you, sorry, I wrote this because I thought it'd be simpler. So I will be stepping down at the end of tonight's meeting and ending my position on city council effective immediately. I want each and every one of you to know it has been my pleasure to serve with you and for you in what was probably some of the most trying times we could have ever encountered in our lifetime or anyone else's. I've grown to respect you all for the commitment you have for the community that you care about. We have not always agreed, but we have always had the best intentions in mind. I care very much for this community and the people in it. If I can ever be of assistance to any of you for a good cause, please let me know. I will be happy to help in any facet I can. I want you guys to keep up the good fight. Thank you for all you've done, and thank you, citizens of Guymon, for your support. This didn't come easily. It took much deliberation and different discussions with some different folks, but I think it's probably in my best interest and our business's best interest to do so.
Wish you the best.
Thanks.
thank you, Mitch.
So.
He'll be rich one of these days, little.
Well, with that being said, we will miss you up here, but we appreciate the time you've served on the council and for everything you've given back to this community. So thank you. Anything else? Nope. Item 7 will stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
You can go to Taco Tuesday. Thursday.
I'm gonna drink Thursday, Tuesday. Okay. Is it like a Band-Aid or what?
Did that get approved? That was filled with my papers and down here.
Yes, it did.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it was approved.
Okay.